Hey guys, and happy Wednesday. So for today, I have 4 projects for you, and I really like each and every one of them. First project, I'm going to be using this frame from the Dollar Tree, and of course, I dropped just about every one of the bits from the screwdriver. But anyway, um, I'm going to go ahead and remove the clip from the galvanized piece on there so that I can separate the backing from it because it's attached at the back. Then I'm just going to go ahead and take out all of the pieces from in there. And the only part that I'm going to be using is the backing, not the galvanized piece. I'll save that for a different project because, it's a galvanized piece. So I'm going to remove the little stand from the back, and I'll be using this part of the backing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand down where that hole was at, and once you sand it down, it kind of fills the hole in for you. Then I'm going to go in with this Waverly black ink chalk paint, and I'm just going to give it one quick coat of the black paint. And once I am done doing that, I'm going to actually just set it aside to dry while I work on the rest of the frame. So today's challenge is the Picture This Challenge, and I am actually hosting it along with Cindy over at That Crafting Lady, and I will have her information in the description box along with the playlist. So be sure to head on over to her channel and click on the playlist link so that you can see what all the other creators have come up with. And if you're coming over here from the playlist, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And just be sure to hit that like button if this is something that you're interested, if you like what you see today. And if you like what you see today, be sure to come back and like every other video that is in my uh, lineup. That's what it's called, my lineup. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I have all these little legs that I've either used from previous projects or that I've gotten like at Goodwill or thrift stores. And clearly this one I've used in a separate project because I can't get the glue out of it. And I don't want to just put more glue on top of it because then there's going to be like a big gap in there. So I'm trying to get off as much of that glue as possible. And this Gorilla Glue is really good, so it was really hard to get it off. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my heat gun so that I can kind of speed up the drying process, because it dawned on me that in order for me to put the little legs on, I have to put that backing back in there because it's going to overlap. So I'm just going to go ahead, get my heat gun, and dry this really quickly. Once it's done drying, I'm just going to stick it back into the frame and I'm going to put the legs on. And like I said, I use Gorilla Glue because for me it's the best glue. It works the best, and I really when I took these legs off of my previous project, I had to like get a scraper and get under there and get them off because they don't just like come off. So I'm going to go ahead, glue these on there, clean off any of the excess glue that kind of comes off, and that's it for the legs. So once I put all the legs on there, it was just kind of plain and I thought it needed something else. So I'm gonna go ahead, go into my little stash. I have so many just little odds and ends, and since I've cleaned up my craft room, or at least some of it, I'm able to find things so much easier. Like everything is so easily accessible, like my glue gun, my screwdrivers, everything is right in front of me, either on my pegboard or I know exactly where I put it. So once, like I said, once I put those on there, I realized it was kind of blah. So I had these little like, I don't know, doorknob or door hooks or whatever they're called, handles. That's what they're called. And they are from Hobby Lobby, and they are so cute in miniature. And I think they were like $1.99, and I had the 40% off coupon. So whatever that ends up being, what, $1.20 or something like that, $1.10. So I just went ahead and I screwed the little handles on there, and you'll see after I put the other one on that I had to come back to this one because it was a little bit off, and I didn't think it was going to bother me because it was such a small difference, but it did bug me. So I ended up taking it off and putting it back on. And then that was it for this one. It's just a cute little tray. I love it. It's miniature, and I have a lot of miniature items that I can put on there, and you can just decorate it for, you know, any holiday, any season. It's very farmhouse. It's just adorable and I love it. And you can use any frame from anywhere, any frames that you have sitting around the house. You can get this exact same one from the Dollar Tree. You can paint it whatever colors you want. So I just thought it was really, really cute. But again, if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Go ahead and like this video and let me know in the comments which of the projects is your favorite. And if you don't like the video, let me know in the projects what you think I could have done better or what type of content you would like. And then that way I can know what you guys like, what you guys want to see, and I can do more of that. And so yeah, so here I am fixing this handle here because like I said, it was off by a millimeter and it was just kind of annoying me that it wasn't straight and it wasn't even. So I went ahead and fixed that. So then once I am done doing that one, we're going to move on to our second project, which I like as well. And again, this is the Picture This challenge. So all we'll be using is a bunch of frames for all of these projects. And who doesn't have frames sitting around the house? I mean, you buy picture frames, you put up a picture, then you switch up your, you know, decor. So you have all these extra picture frames. And I will link down below another project that I use a picture frame in that came out really, really great. So for project number 2, I'm going to be using another one of those same frames, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to remove the insides of it, and then I'm going to have, I cut this piece of the stir stick that I got like at Home Depot, and I cut it to fit the frame, and then I'm going to be using 2 of these tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. So then I'm going to take the galvanized piece and I'm going to cut it to fit inside the frame, and I'm going to be using these scissors that I got from Harbor Freight. These things are amazing. They cut through just about anything, wood, metal, you name it, it pretty much cuts through it. So I love them. I have about 3 or 4 pairs of them, and if I can find them online, I will put the link in the description box for you. Then I'm going to be using this Waverly wax paint, and I'm just going to give it a quick coat over this frame and the 2 Jenga or the tumbling tower block pieces, just so that they match better since the colors were pretty different there. So I'm just going to give them each a coat and then wipe off any of the excess, just like I said, so that they match a little bit better. I couldn't get the exact color to go right, but it's close. Then I'm going to take some black ink colored paint, and I'm going to color paint, I can't talk today. I'm going to paint the stir stick, and I just painted the front side. Then I was trying to figure out how to get everything to stay in there because they're both different thicknesses, so it wasn't really holding in there right. So I decided to get these are the jumbo paint sticks from Walmart. And of course you can use whatever, you know, whatever you have that works. But this worked out great for me. So I just went ahead and cut a piece to fit vertically and then another piece to fit horizontally. And that worked out great. The pieces don't move around. Everything stays in there. So it works. And nobody's going to see the back. And if you want to cover it with a piece of like paper or whatever, you can do that just so that it looks more finished on the back, but it doesn't bother me. Then I'm going to take these 2 tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to glue one on each corner of the bottom part of the frame, and those are going to be the legs to my miniature little washboard. Isn't it cute? I love washboards. I have about 4 of them. 2 I've made, and 1 I made over. I found it in the trash during trash day, and so I redid it. So that was it for that one. Now for project number 3, I'm going to be using this frame that I've had who knows how long. This used to be kind of my color scheme, was like all these very raw woods, and then I just kind of stopped using it. So I have all these frames that are pretty much unfinished. So I'm just going to take the glass out of it, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats of the Waverly ink black paint. And of course you can do this whatever color you want, but I'm kind of doing the farmhouse theme and I really like, you know, the black. And look at my hands, I'm just so messy, so clumsy. Ugh, it's so annoying. So then I'm going to take this furniture pen from Dollar Tree, and I just went over this piece of a stir stick that I cut to fit inside the frame again. Then I painted the back of it black just because you could see the letters. And then I just stuck it in there. It was so tight that I didn't even have to put glue or anything. And again, it looked a little unfinished to me. So I have these little pieces that Beebeecraft sent to me to try out. And I figured this would be the perfect project for them. So I just went ahead, opened up the corners of them, and I glued them onto the frame. And I thought it turned out really, really cute. Now you could also just kind of go over them with, you know, another color if you don't want them to be that brassy or whatever this metal color is. You can go ahead and paint over them or spray paint them or whatever. But I liked the color. It was kind of, it kind of went with the farmhouse theme, kind of vintage kind of farmhouse. And I have a very eclectic style. I kind of like a little bit of everything. So this kind of works for me. And that is it, guys, for that one. So then on to project number 4 and my final project. This is a frame from Dollar Tree. It's actually a square frame that came with, I think the picture was like a little cupcake picture that I really liked. And then one of these canvases from the Dollar Tree. And I think this is the 5x7, if I'm not mistaken, or the 4, I think it's a 5x7. And this staple remover right here is amazing. I will link it in the description box down below. If you don't have one and you use these frames or staples, it's amazing. It takes all the work out of it. So then I went ahead and I sanded down this, what's this thing called? The frame from the canvas, and it was just kind of messed up. There was like nails sticking out, so I ended up taking it apart, and I don't think I recorded that part. I ended up taking it apart and re-gluing it and re-stapling it because there was just nails and it was just really weird. So I just took it apart and re-glued it and re-stapled it because it was horrible. I could barely sand it because there was nails sticking out. So like I said, I went ahead and re-glued it and re-stapled it, and it looks fine. So then once I was done doing that, I went ahead and gave the square frame, or first I took the little metal holders from in there and I broke it. This is like styrofoam, kind of a little bit thicker than styrofoam. It's not wood, it's really a very, very flimsy material. So just be really careful when you pull these out, or you can leave them in and just kind of push them down. But I didn't want them in there, so I took them off, and then I just took some hot glue and fixed that little piece that I broke off. So no big deal. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a coat of black paint. Again, I'm going to be using the Waverly ink just because it dries faster and I have it sitting right in front of me. So like I said, I'm going to give it a coat. I think I ended up having to give it like 2 coats just because it just wouldn't, wouldn't stick. So I think I gave it 2 coats. And then once I'm done giving that 2 coats of that black paint, I'm going to go ahead and stain the canvas frame. And I'm just going to use one of the paint pens from the Dollar Tree, and this is like a furniture fixer pen. I don't know what you call it, but you get it from like the tool section of Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that, and I ended up having to use a different color on the back, but it's fine. I just wanted it to be painted just so that it looked more finished, because that one marker ended up finishing, so I have to go buy another one. Then I'm just going to take some hot glue and I'm going to glue the frame, or the canvas frame, onto the black frame as you see me doing here. And then I'm going to turn it around and I'll put some more hot glue on the back just to make sure it's, sturdy and it stays on there. And once I'm done doing that, I'm going to get these little jars that are from the Dollar Tree, and I got them from the Crafter's Square section, and they're the somewhat bigger ones with the cork in it. And I'm going to grab some corded jute twine, some what is it called? I don't know why I said corded. It's the jute twine that has the wired jute twine. There you go. That's what it's called. I got some wired jute twine that I got at the Dollar Tree in the little jars. And I'm just going to go ahead, wrap some of the twine around the lip of the bottle. And then I'm just going to take the jute twine and staple it to the back of the wood frame, and that way it'll be hanging in the middle of the frame. And like I said, I just took it, I twisted it, and that way it stood on there, and it was, pretty solid or pretty sturdy. So, I didn't have to do a whole lot with it, and the one staple held it on there perfectly. And I did that twice, and just used two little bottles. And then I ended up taking the corks out of the bottles. I was going to leave them in there and just kind of leave them plain like that, but they just looked a little bit too plain. So I ended up taking the corks out and grabbing some of the lavender, some little lavender stems that were right behind me, organized in my perfectly organized flower organizer, even though it's just a shoe organizer that I got from Walmart for like $4, but it works perfectly. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will put that video in the description box as well. I kind of organized my craft room and I'm loving it. So that is it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some inspiration to use some of the frames that you have sitting around your house. And be sure to check out the playlist, check out Cindy's channel. All that information will be in the description box. And if you like what you saw here, please be sure to like and come back, check out some more of my videos. You can check out all the videos that I've already posted. There's tons of inspiration, farmhouse, rustic, you name it, it's there. So until the next time, guys, be blessed and be the reason someone smiles. Bye, guys.